What happens when a 3D printer falls off of a counter? Well, this happens. Meet Klong. Klong is an Anycubic Cobra 2 Pro, and yes, it did fall off of a counter under my watch, kind of. It led to a disaster that I've never experienced before, and I never want to experience again. So let me tell you the story. One fateful day, I went into work and I brought Klong. I think it was like a Monday or something, and nothing happens on Mondays where I used to work. So I brought Klong, I found a nice room for Klong, and I plugged it in and got to work. At first, I printed a 3D benchy. It all went great, no problems. But it was shortly after I started a different print of a bust of The Rock's head, because that's what us 3D printer owners do all the time. And it got unexpectedly busy. So there was, Klong was doing its thing, you know, printing, wobbling back and forth and causing a lot of motion. And apparently, my manager said that he heard it crash onto the floor, and after that he kept hearing something crashing into the floor, as if like something was stomping on the floor constantly. But he heard that 30 minutes ago, and he was just telling me about it now. So of course I inferred what happened, and yeah, Klong fell on the floor. Not only that, but there's no failsafe in place to where like it knows that it fell or that it's not on a surface. So it was still executing G-codes. It was still trying to print. So that constant stomping sound that my manager was hearing was the bed crashing into the floor constantly. And of course, I panicked a little bit because this was a brand new printer. I was having fun with it. You know, it was dirt cheap, yeah, but I still bought it and I didn't want it to break or anything. So I did an autopsy. I wanted to see what happened and if it could even be repaired. So the first problem that I encountered, and probably the most glaring one, so you see right here how the bed is, you know, attached and it's not wobbling at all? Yeah, that was not the case. I'm gonna zoom into those bearings down there. Those were not attached to the rods anymore, and the bed was actually like floating above where it was supposed to be. It would still go back and forth, but it would wobble side to side, and it was just a big problem. Damage number 2. At the back here, you can see these little plastic components. Now, Anycubic called these anti-gap components when I emailed them and asked them if I could buy replacement ones. And basically what these do is they attach the entire x-axis to the z-axis. And that was shattered, which caused the entire x-axis to wobble and also be very slanted. But surprisingly, other than that, that was pretty much the only visible damage to the whole printer. But those are obviously two very catastrophic things, and with those two things occurring, Klong could not print at all. But what actually happened to make it fall off a counter? Well, these little rubber feet things, yeah, they're not actually like very soft rubber. They're very hard, and it turns out on a very slippery countertop, yeah, they didn't grip too well. But I can't just have a broken printer. I have to fix it. So how was I supposed to attach the bed again? So at the front, this thing here is what stops the bed from just going away. So I had to remove that screw, and I had to take this whole thing off. And then I had to take the top of the bed off so that I could remove the belt. And then I basically just slid the bed off and then slid it back on this way, put this all back on, and yeah, it was there. But it was still wobbling around a lot. And how I actually fixed that, I made a YouTube short about it. I had to adjust 2 little screws on one side. Now what's special about these 2 screws, or it might have been these 2, I don't know, is that they go in, but they're like sort of offset. So if you twist it one way, it pushes the bearing farther away or closer towards the linear rods here. And by adjusting that, you can prevent it from wobbling side to side. So I had to do that. And for the second big problem, I actually had to get Anycubic to send me more of these little anti-gap pieces. And then to replace them, what I had to do is I had to take the entire x-axis off of the printer. So I did that by removing these 2 things, by removing these belt holding bits, and then I had to slide the entire x-axis off, disconnect the cable and everything. Then I had to remove these old ones and put in the new ones. And all in all, this project took like a really long time, but in the end it did get fixed. And it works great now. So now that it's all repaired and it works great, what do I actually use it for? And the answer is, well, not much. I mean, I already have a really good bed slinger and a really good Core XY printer. And both of those can print in multicolor. This never can, unless I do like a crap ton of mods to it. So yeah, for everyday printing, I don't really use it. But when a third printer comes in clutch is in big projects. For example, when I was revamping my studio, I mean, I had one printer printing this, I had another one printing that, and just to make it go by faster, I made Klong whip out some nice little organizational containers, and Klong just kind of made the whole project go by faster. So yeah, in the future, I actually do plan to modify the crap out of Klong. I want to get rid of its stupid main board and replace it with a clipper one. That way, at some point, I can install a co-print set and turn this into a multicolor printer. And as you can see, I've already gone kind of hog wild with some 3D printed accessories. But yeah, Klong's gonna be my little guinea pig, and once I get some more disposable income, maybe I can actually start having more fun with it. But yeah, that's really all I have for you today. If you like the video, you should leave a like, and you should also subscribe because it's free and it's cool. You should also leave a comment. Whether it's positive or negative, I don't really care, just leave one. And if you do all of those things, you will make Clove very happy. So yeah, that's really about it. Bye.